Hello, y'all. I had to make this video because I was frustrated a little bit. So I was looking at a YouTube ad, and it was Chris Pratt talking about how, and a lot of people do this, how we move the way Christ wants us to move. We be what Christ wants us to be. And it's what Christ wants, what God wants, what God wants. Okay. First of all, who is living here? Who is doing the work? Number one. Number two, in order to understand beings like God's spirit source, you can't just sit up and be like, oh, I know you. I felt you. I know. No, you don't. No, you don't. You cannot fathom what they are. They're too powerful for you. When you sit up and you obey like that, the problem is, one, you don't know what you're obeying. Two, you start out obeying, but then you get resentful. And the reason why you get resentful is because you lack understanding of what any of it means in the first place. So you're going to sit up and you're going to just follow a machine because it tells you to follow it? You're going to follow a book because it says so? No. Even back then, rabbis questioned. If you didn't question the rabbi didn't know whether you understood or not. You're supposed to question. You're not supposed to follow blindly. One. Two. Or three. I can't remember which one. Some of you are so in the Old Testament. Are you a Jew? I'll wait. Are you a Jew? Old Testament is based on Babylonian, Mesopotamian, Sumerian gods. And then El. Did you know that? You're dealing with different gods. Thank you. Did you know that? What are you following? Who are you following? An Old Testament is a historical account. Jewish law. Are you Jewish? Because if you are, why are you in the Bible? That's not your book. You're supposed to be, if you are Christian, you are supposed to be in the New Testament based on Jesus's words and what he's saying. You believe that Jesus was God's messenger and God's son. Jews don't. And I am not knocking Jews, understand that. What I'm specifying is the difference of faith. See, people are hodgepodging faith together. And I'm not talking about the ones that say they follow God and they don't. You're following something you don't even understand. That is why I say love you. You don't know what love is. If you don't know what love is, then you can't possibly understand how God can love you, Jesus can love you. You don't even know how it works. Which leads me back to, you don't know anything about them. All you know is what you're taught to follow and to do and to obey, but you don't even understand what you're obeying. That's why it burns me up. Christ said, do this. This is what I'm going to do. You think you're being pious. You think you're being obedient, but you're being ignorant. Well, the leaders of this world want you to follow ignorantly. And that's why they raped the book. They took out Mary Magdalene's book, and I was sitting up there studying this one and thinking about this. Mary Magdalene taught that the way to love is through self, because then that's how you get to everyone else. She taught that. She was not completely on the level of Jesus, but she was highly evolved. And as some say, she was on the level of Jesus. Still studying that part. But she was highly evolved, which is why they knocked her down, because she was a woman. And so what do they do? Just like today, when you're a woman and you are highly evolved and you know, oh, that must be a hoe. That's the only way she could know these things. Bullshit. Inanna was the one, the female feminine cosmic energy was the one leading, because we create life. It takes two. So again, what are you following? What is it that you're understanding that you're following? Or are you just following laws that you don't understand why you do it? Have you lived any of these laws for you to understand why you don't do it? And then say, Father, now I understand why you told me not to. Or are you just one of those that just sits and follows because you don't want the pain and you don't want the anguish going through that? But again, you're the prodigal son that stayed at home and didn't learn a damn thing. We are the ones that go out and be like, no, I'm going to learn it myself. I'm going to fall. I'm going to pick myself back up. I'm going to see. I'm going to see what my father was teaching. I'm going to understand why he told me not to. Yeah, I'm going to sin. But I'm going to be forgiven for that sin because I learned my lesson and I went back and I apologized. And now I better understand what I'm learning so that I can love other people. It's through love your understanding is. And you can't get there without being through you. You can't love other people without loving you, right? That was an understatement in what Jesus said, the 2 commandments. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love yourself. Then you will understand your neighbor. Then you will understand the laws. Why, for the life of me, do people who follow spirit leave themselves out of the equation? How are you going to solve the equation then if you're not in it? Mathematically, that's impossible, right? If you have a missing variable that you can't find, and that's you, and you're the main one, how the hell are you going to solve the problem? Why do you people sit up and subjugate yourself to a God you don't understand? You lower yourself, but God is in you. So if you lower yourself, you're lowering God. Why? Because someone told you to? Use your damn intuition to feel. Use your chakras and your meridians to see and feel, your auric field. Use it to see and feel. If you can't see, you can see by feeling. To know it to be true. You question to know it to be true. Why are you questioning? Easy. Because man has screwed it up too fucking much for you to know what's true. And then you're afraid of people chastising you because you ain't following a fucking book that they took over 400 books from, including my father's book and his wife's. And the book on how to manifest, the Book of Thomas. That's what we're doing, people? No. Get it together. I love you. Namaste.